tried to refine it down and down and down. It's not becoming, you can just get the basic principles down. You can learn something, you can have fun, and you can learn to play better for Saturday when it's coming up. So how to set up a practice for success. Just a basic offense that I've run the past couple of years, and I thought originally when I came here it would be a little complex, but it actually the kids pick it up, and I'll show you. It's a simple system based on numbers. It integrates with the huddle, and it makes play calling easy, and players can remember it. It's simple, and it always works off a basic form or setup, and I'll show you what that looks like. So you can run different plays or a variety of plays off of pretty much the same setup with a tweak, with one or two words in your play calling sequence.
Jack,
Yep.
could I ask you just to tilt your,
yeah.
move your thing, easel over and tilt it this way just a little bit so we could.
Yes.
There you go. That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
All right, so we'll do the basic offense and then defense. And I think defense, it's interesting. Defense is easy to teach, what I've found. It's much easier for them to execute, and it's much more of an effective part of the game. If you win a game and the team plays well, it's usually because they played really good defense. They grabbed the flag, they tackled, they didn't miss. The other team had trouble moving the ball deep against you, and the score is always close because you play good defense, which is kind of good. And I think a lot of that is because of the blitzing, and the team that can blitz any one of the four downs can wreak havoc on the offense. So you'll see a lot of teams blitz almost every play. It's extremely effective. What's nice is you can then, if the score gets lopsided, you can start backing off your blitz, and then you can keep the game a little more even. But we'll go over some defensive principles as well. So, any questions so far? I think, does anybody want to have another question? Anything else they'd like to talk about or cover before we get into some details? Feel free to speak up. But all right, so you only have an hour for practice, right? So you really have to, I would say, write down at least one or two goals you're trying to get accomplished in that specific day. Whether that's, all right, we're going to start to learn the routes that we're going to teach these kids. As the season goes on, we have 3 or 4 plays we can run well. We're going to put in the 5th play. And that's where you spend the majority of your time in practice, or at least you structure your plan so you can accomplish that specific goal or activity that you're looking to do. And the way I run my practices, always there's a progression to what we teach from today, basically, or let's say the first formal practice till the last game. And that progression is, I want them to constantly grasp what the route tree is on offense. So what I use is the number system. So we're going to put in 2 routes in the first practice. We're going to put a 1 and a 2. And I'm going to teach all my players what's a 1 route and what's a 2 route. And we're going to run those. And then the next practice, we'll run them again. So everybody starts to get familiar and remember. And we'll probably do that 2 or 3 more practices. Then we'll put in the number 3 route. Okay, then we'll run the 1, 2, and 3 for 2 weeks. Then we'll put in the 4 route. We'll run the run 2. Now they start to get all these numbers. You can start to run different plays. By the time you're in your second game, you've got a variety of plays to actually start to call. So here are the elements for practice in 60 minutes with what we have. You basically do a formal warm-up, right? So what that can look like is, you can turn around, you can see the hurdles and the ladder out there. I bring those. I bought those years ago for my kids, and I coach some other sports. So you don't have to buy that stuff or get that, but you can set up the cones they give you. You can set up, you have 2 or 3 coaches, you can set up a coach in each station and teach them the basic fundamentals of how to warm your body up to get ready for athletic competition. So when we were growing up, a lot of us learned what we call static stretching. So that's touch your toes, hold your squat stretch for 2 seconds. In reality, the more these athletes progress to high school and other levels, they're going to do what's called a dynamic warm-up or a dynamic flexibility. So the theory was that you want to get blood flowing to your muscles first, break a sweat, get the heart pumping, and then start to stretch out. So actually, you watch the pros today, none of them are doing static stretching. Go down the Eagles game, Phillies game, whatever it is. They're doing high knee kicks. They're doing lunge walks. They're doing like a walking quad stretch where they walk down the field, they keep grabbing. They're doing these karaoke things, sideways. So if you can incorporate some of that stuff that's online, and I can show you if you want what 3 or 4 drills that you can do in 5 minutes that really gets athletes ready. You're preparing them for travel, whatever, baseball, basketball, 12, 13, 14 years old, because they're starting to implement those things already. You may have seen it at the lower, younger levels as well. And then high school, they're all doing this. They're doing it off season, in season, pre-season, you name it. They're doing all these speed and agility warm-up things early. So if you can introduce them to what that stuff is, I think it's good for their body, and 2, it's you're teaching them skills and to appreciate that for the future. So warm-up will be, I'll put up the hurdles, I'll put up the ladder, I'll set up like a little kind of obstacle course, and we'll have one coach at the end of, say, the cone drill, ladder, hurdles, whatever you design. You throw the footballs, they come off the drill, they catch it, they throw it back to you, and then they start a back pedal. And then maybe they're starting a shuffle. You can set up a big square for a warm-up. So you put one cone here, and maybe you have the group of players kind of lined up, and you say, all right, first guy's going to run to the cone, you're going to shuffle here, you're going to sprint, you're going to karaoke, and then you're going to back pedal. And maybe you have a coach here who tosses them a ball and gets them to catch the ball and have to throw it back to you and move. So you get it moving in some kind of formal, organized way. Okay, this keeps them thinking. If you have a lot of kids, we all have 10, 12 kids, then you set up 2 squares, 2 sets of the cones somewhere else. So hurdles, and then I'll set up a cone drill that either is in a square formation like that, or what I like, you get those little disc cones that Jay gives us, and you kind of stagger them like this. So you start the line here again, and basically they have to actually start the lines here, and they have to run around this cone here. Now they break down, get into a back pedal, break down here, go into a sprint, so they're going in this direction, break down and get into a back pedal. This gets you moving, forwards, backwards, that's football type speed. And again, maybe put a coach here and here, and just toss them the ball as they make a transition. So coming up, they're catching, throwing the ball back, and they're getting a back pedal. And they're stopping, they're coming up. Again, you can do these design warm-ups in like 5 to 10 minutes. So it gets them moving, and you start to add some skill-specific things. So that's kind of the warm-up. So be creative. This is your chance, I think, as a coach to create movement drills. You can look online and see different ideas. Set up cones. Get them going. Get everybody here. They've been in school all day. Get their heart pumping, their heads starting to think about what they're doing here at the football. The second thing I'll do is the skills, individual skills drill. So this can be anything from let's work on catching today, right? We're gonna start out simple. We're gonna have the quarterback or coaches. Usually the coaches at this point will be like a quarterback, and we'll set up 3 lines of 4, and everybody's just gonna run up, take 2 steps, catch the ball, throw it back. Next guy, catch the ball. Real simple things. Let's work on our hands. Let's work on catching. Maybe that's week 1. Shoulder catching in our skills segment. So you've got let's say 5 to 6 minutes here. You've got again maybe like another 6 minutes here. Okay. Other skills. So obviously 1 is catching. 2 is how do your centers snap the ball to the quarterback? I've actually struggled with this a little bit. The kids don't do a good job of getting down in a center stance and hiking the ball, and the quarterback taking the ball and stepping back and looking. So if that takes too long, which it often does, what I've seen, and you've got a blitzer coming at you, you've just lost. What did the blitzer start at? 7, 8 yards? Now the blitzer's starting at 5 yards because you're fumbling with the ball, the blitzer's running, and all of a sudden the quarterback steps here and he's got a guy that's 3 feet from him, and he's barely getting the football in his hand. So if you can teach the skill that's important of getting a good clean snap, quarterback receiver, taking 2 steps back, and looking ready to make his read throw, or her throw, that's critical. As the season goes on, part of my skill will be teach the shotgun, right? We'll work on this. And this is all we do. I pick like 1 skill, maybe 2, and for 6 minutes you drill on it. So, this is be part of your goal. If you see where you're struggling in the game on Saturday, this is the area where you want to focus on. Whether it's catching, snapping the ball, handoffs. Kids can fumble handoffs and you lose the down. It's kind of a wasted play. So if your team's struggling with handoffs, I think one of the first things I'm going to do today is hiking the ball, teaching every kid to be able to snap and quarterbacks to receive, and then just how to hold your hands when you receive the football. One elbow up on the inside, quarterback places the ball in. You got to teach those kind of fundamentals, whether you're running left to the right side or the left side, the opposite inside elbow will always be up. So those are the things I want to teach during the skill session. Very specific to things that I think the team needs to work on just to execute the basic play, just get the play running. And that's half our job as coaches. The second part of the next phase of practice will be usually offense and or defense, right? I'll switch depending on where I want to spend a little more time, but we'll do anything from, this is where I'll start, and I'll show you in 10 minutes or so, the route tree. We'll run our routes. We'll have the formal quarterbacks, the kids who can actually take the snap, throw the football. I usually pick as a coach, what I've found success in is have about 2 kids who are primarily your QBs. Maybe a third one, if you're up a lot and you want to put a younger kid in, we all I think do that. But to get the kids having fun and to actually keep this thing flowing, and get the younger kid who's trying to learn the game the first year a real pass so he can catch it and run down the field and enjoy the time out here in the field, you need somebody that can actually deliver the football and throw it. So I usually do put in some of my stronger athletes at the quarterback position just so we can run our darn offense and we can have some fun out there as a real team and kids can get open. I'll go into more of that later, but so I'll separate at this point the formal positions, quarterbacks and kids who will typically be the center, and then everybody else is really a wide receiver. Running backs, I do keep similar kids in those positions throughout the year too, and certainly kind of see how the team progresses, but I'll try to give people positions, even though the kids will obviously alternate and play a lot of different positions. So I'll spend more time here. I mean, you're probably around 20 minutes of offense. I mean, that'll go quick. Get that much time, that's great. Then obviously you have the devotion, and that's going to take about 7 minutes or so. As we do that. Has anyone heard any really funny comments in devotions from the young children? I've heard some. It's been really fun. I actually like the devotions. When you're doing it for the first time, it can feel a little awkward, but there's actually some really, really interesting comments that come out of the kids' mouths that make you laugh. Remember why you're doing all this, and then we'll obviously work in the defense. So defense, we can go over more of that later, but I found the defense fairly straightforward to coach. The main thing I work on in defense is what I see the biggest issue is kids need to grab the flag when they have the opportunity to grab the flag. You can have great offense, you can score points, and you can be on third down, your team's playing well, and all of a sudden, you have this kid pinned down in the corner on the other team, somebody misses a flag, and 2 of the other kids stop running to the ball, and all of a sudden this kid gets loose and he runs all the way down the sideline and scores a touchdown. And you're like, geez, what happened? Like it was third down, we had this team pinned. So if you can teach your kids, mainly on defense, how to grab the flag and do it consistently, and kind of team tackling, if you want to call it, or team flag grabbing, that's really where you're focusing. If you teach that early in the season, you're going to have one heck of a defense, no matter who you're playing, because kids are spread out. There's no blocking. Everybody running to the ball, put the ball carrier in an awkward position, so he or she has to run toward 2 of your players. So we'll do some drills that I'll show you later about where I spend time. So the 3 things is team flag pulling and tackling, obviously position and coverages, and then where their responsibility is in the field, and then blitzing. Those are really the 3 components I found mission critical at this level of flag football. So you're teaching those 3 components: team tackling, flag pulling, position, coverage, what's their responsibility, stay on your side of the ball, stay on this receiver, etc. And then blitzes. They're very effective if you use them appropriately. The way I call blitzes is I just give the kids a signal. It's like elbow, it's something like this on your head. I just yell the kid's name and say, you're going. I would usually only blitz the 2 linebackers. I'll show you that in a little bit. And then as time's starting to tick down now, so maybe this is 15 minutes or so. Then we try to do like what we call, this is kind of what we did in college, offense and defense. So you've got a warm up, you've got skills, you've got offensive, you've got your devotion, you've got your defensive specific, and then 6. These are your primary core components. Team offense is really now where we start to break out. Especially this gets a little more real. Probably won't get to a team segment until the 3rd or 4th practice when it's repetitive. I think we're spending so much time early just getting everybody figuring out where they should stand and what to do. Team offense is where we put maybe the first team who I think is going to start that week, starting quarterback, starting center, wide receivers, etc. We'll put them against the remaining defensive players, and I want to see them run the offense. And I want to see the defense stay in their positions and accurately blitz. So you're starting to now put all this progressively together into this last segment, and that's how you start to gauge whether these kids are getting it or not, and what else do you need to work on. So whatever you learn in segment 6 here, the next practice, that kind of becomes your goal. Like, all right, we're really weak on snapping the football. We can't even snap it against our own team. We're going to get beat up on Saturday. We're not getting the offense. We've got to spend more time on the route tree. We've got to spend more time on the huddle, ball playing, all those things. So that'll tell you where you're strong, where you're weak, and which kids are picking up and which kids you might need to spend a little more time with. And then, try to end, and this is hard, I think, in the beginning because you're trying to get a lot of this information done. Try to end with a fun drill, some sort of game, whether it's you put 2 lines against each other and you have 2 quarterbacks and you see what line can catch more passes. Have a competition. Send each kid at the same time, and you have to throw it past the 20-yard cone and who can catch more in a row. You can certainly play like a relay game I've played. It's trying to get back to like a gym class type of activity that maybe has nothing to do with football. Maybe it's just a fun, race game, or you can do fun things where the kids are on their back and you tell them that on the whistle get up and run and do a little obstacle course or something. Come up with something creative again. Kind of what your creativity and your warm up, be creative at your fun part at the end of the practice. So those are the kind of 6, 7 key components that if you can get this going in an hour and all these things kind of learn what your team's good at and not good at. That way you can structure each practice so there's progressive form to it. Any questions on that?
How long is your team offense?
So it'll kind of be the balance. I don't even know where my time is here, but you're probably going to get another 10 to 15 minutes or something like that. I think that's, if you can, as you progressively do this mid-season, you want to spend more time in the team segment. So you're adding more plays in. You're switching out. All right, first offense is out, second offense. You guys switch. You're on offense now. This team's on the defensive side. So you can have, this is kind of like a scrimmage. It's a segmented scrimmage or a compartmentalized scrimmage, right? They're actually trying to move the ball down the field, get 4 downs. Let's see what you do. So the more time you can spend here, I think the more your offense and defense will start to come together. This can be a little competitive, so it starts to have some of that fun element to it. I try to keep it in that. I try to do all these. Every practice, can you get all this done? Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you need to spend more time here, or you need to spend more time on the offense. Or we really missed 7 flags last game. We're gonna put defense up here, and we're gonna spend a lot of time tackling because man, we got killed on Saturday, and it was because you guys just couldn't grab the flags. Let's do that. And you say that in a nice way, but that's your judgment as a coach. So that's the format that I found that keeps it fairly progressive. Any questions, you guys? Anybody else?
Yeah, just real quick. Last year, I had a hard time with the kids snapping the ball.
Yeah, I know.
Center. Like, it was surprising how difficult that was. And we went to shotgun. Do you have any statistics for a while?
I come at it under center. I want this year to do more shotgun, just because it is difficult. And because the blitz, I think. because I find that my quarterback loses time. And if they can get the shotgun, I guess it doesn't have to be a long shotgun. It can be 3 yards back, hike, and you're already at a 3 or 4 step drop. In the skill session, maybe all this we could think about, let's do more shotguns early in the season and see which kid has the biggest hands, that can get the ball back, and the quarterback can actually do it. I think, what happens is probably like you see your kids do shotguns, the ball's all over the place, they're fumbling, and now you're like, oh my gosh, like this isn't going to work either, just hand it to them. But I think if we worked with the shotgun stand, then yeah, it probably would work, and it's the best of both worlds, because then your quarterback has a little extra time.
The physical part of the direct snap, how do you teach that? How do you teach us? Like this, I mean, I've only played tackle football. So,
Yeah.
Quarterback's right up on your butt.
Right.
That's when he goes.
Yeah.
But they're not doing that here, right?
I mean, the kids get their hand right underneath the center. I mean, it really comes down to the quarterback not bending his head and turning his body and trying to reach in and scoop the ball out. I think if you teach them to sit in a chair and look, so I always, especially in the beginning of the year, I tell my quarterbacks, keep your head up, look at the defense, put your hand under, and it's the center's job to get the ball all the way back into their hands. So that, yeah, they should be turning the side, right? That's a great one too that might. But the quarterback can at least look and says hike and can get a hold of it. Then at least there's some fluidity to that. I mean, that's something I think we all can work on. Again, with the blitz coming, it takes power away from your offense. You can just relax, right? That's where it's really fun. All right, so the offense. So what I teach is a basic route tree where I played in college. And it's a simple enough system where you've got routes by number. So you've got a 1 is a slant, a 2 is an out, a 3 is a drag. As a go route. So if you notice, the odd numbers are all in toward the goalpost or the quarterback. So if you look at it like this, you've got the ball the quarterback. Here's the 1. This will be the 2. 3 is a drag. It should be a little deeper than the 2 in theory. And the 5 is just a curl. And the 0 is the obvious. Go. It becomes 0 quickly. But if you can teach your kids some formation of this, whether you use different numbers, whether you use colors or some sort of nomenclature that you like, what this feeds into those, what I'll show you in about 5 minutes, is how easy it is then to call play. So if you can get your athletes to learn the numbers, that a 3 is a drag that I'm going to run that way. A 1 is a slant, I'm going to go down 5-10 yards and then slant in. A 2 is an out, I'm going to run out 5 yards and turn. And then, but conversely with the 5-10 yards, turn around and catch the ball. If you can teach them the numbers so that they start to just memorize, oh, I know what a 1 is, great, I know what a 5 is. Then when you start to call your plays, you're basically just having the quarterback, you're having the huddle line up the same way every time, and the quarterback gets on his knee and says, all right, here's the play. 1, and he points to the kid, 1, 2, 1, out. Something like that. And now you're starting, this kid remembers it's a 1, he remembers it's a 2, he remembers it's a 1, and they're going to the same positions, and I'll show you how this works. But the numbers tree is the foundation of this. So you get your kids to understand what each one is. So how do you do that? How do you get kids to know what a 1 and a 2 actually is? That's what you do in the beginning of your offense in the early part of the season. You just practice the slant as a 1. Everybody, let's line up 2 lines, 2 quarterbacks. We're going to run 1s. And I literally have to stand there and point. Okay, you're running this, or put the cone down at 5 yards, then slant this way. And the kids all do it. And this is the first couple practices. Then we work on the 2. So you're going to run out 10 yards or 5 yards, and you're going to go this way. The coach might stand there and point. So you're really holding their hand, teaching them what these are. I've given kids I think I've given kids the route tree on paper before and said just take it home and just read it. You know, and just look at it. Right? It starts to sink in after 3 weeks. The good news is we have 3 weeks before the first game or practice, so you have time. Okay, and then as the season goes on, or I'll say as the practices go on, you start to add the 3. And there is a symmetry to it because all the odd numbers you're running in, all the even numbers you're running out. And then 0 routes. There's 5 routes. From 5 routes, you have a lot of opportunity to create different plays, different directions. You know, you can run with the way I'll show you how to call a play. You can run 8 to 10 plays just on these 5 numbers. Pretty easy. You could run more, but at some point it gets a little redundant. So the route tree is the fundamental. Teach the basics of the route tree. You don't have to use these numbers. You use whatever you like, but that's an easy skill for them to learn and memorize by, say, the 3rd week of the season. Throughout the season, I will constantly always start our offense 1 to 2, right? Until I really feel that everybody has got what a 1 is, what a 2 is. Then we'll progress as it goes on.
Have you found that?
Yep.
Have you found that using the numbers much easier than actually being the route?
Yeah, just because you get it's easier to call the play for the quarterback. If he has to remember 5, I'll add words into it. So I'll teach them both, but I want them really to hone in on the numbers. So I found kids just understand what a 1 is, what a 2 is, what a how to grab is. It's just, again, that's just kind of the way I envisioned it. It just kind of keeps the nomenclature tight. Everybody knows what the number is, and I'll show you the plays, how quick these quarterbacks can call plays, and set everybody up. The second foundation to simple play calling and simple offense is the formation of your huddle. So here's our sideline, right? Starts with the sideline. This is where the coaches are. And you go in this direction. Quarterback will be our first. He'll be on a knee. The wide receiver right will be here. That's his spot to stand in, her spot. The Z, or some people call it an X, just a football turn, will stand right there. The wide receiver left will stand here, and then it's center here, center here, and then running back here. So I teach the huddle, probably from the 2nd or 3rd practice. We start getting in these positions. This is, they pick this up. I actually was concerned about are they going to remember where, you're out there for the first 3 games, so you can actually place kids in the right spot. But what the game I play to teach this is you get 2 groups and you make it a competition, right? You get groups of, what is it, 6 kids. And you say, all right, 6 kids here, maybe a coach has to fill in if you have 11 kids or whatever. And you say, you set up 3 cones around the field. And you say, all right, this group, you're going to run to that cone. Group B, you're going to run to that cone. Whoever gets in the proper formation first, raise your hand, and you're the winning group. And you say, on your mark, get set, kind of mix the kids up, go. And they have to run to the cone, which is 15, 20 yards away. Quarterback's got to get on the knee, wide receiver right. You get it right down to know which player is which. And they have to organize themselves in this formation. Then you say, all right, this group B did it first. Congratulations, you're the winner. All right, here's the second time. Ready? This time you run to that cone. This time you run over that cone. And they have to race and run to that cone. Get mixed up. And they have to get in this formation again. This is where they start to learn, like, hey, and your quarterbacks need to kind of you can play some games like that, but I'll start playing the game probably. I'll introduce this conceptually to the kids. I'll show it to them written down format, and then we'll start playing the game probably the 2nd time I do the huddle coach. So what this starts to lead to is if you then have the quarterback call the play, so I call a play of, let me use a different color. So I have a 121 out, and then I'll show you what I do with the running back because he's the last person. So the quarterback points, he says, you got a 1, Z, you have a 2, wide receiver left, you have a 1, you have an out. In theory, he's just going the opposite of where the Z's going, opposite direction. Running back, you're going to flare. Running back's like the safety outlet on some pass plays. I'll show you how that's kind of fluid. The quarterback literally, again, he's pointing at the wide receiver right. He's always in the same spot. 1, 2, 1, out. I'll kind of show you what he does. I have to draw it over here. So that's the sequence. So then again, you can start to do a lot of different play sets. So we have a 121, 75, 25, out. There's a 0, 0, 3, go route, which is actually a really fun play. You can start to mix and match. There's a 3, 2, 1, go that we run. So you can start to mix, and these are all one sets. So I'll show you what I do with the Z to kind of give a little variety and switch it up. But the quarterbacks, as long as he's pointing and the kids know the numbers, this actually works pretty simplistically.
Is your quarterback keying on a specific guy for each play, or is it just
No, he's making the read. I mean, I find, and what I like about this, especially again back to the blitzing thing, is the 2s are always open. The 2s are really always open, and if they start jumping the 2s, then the 1s or the 5s are open, or the bigger shots downfield. So, in certain games, I'll call the play. I have the quarterback come to the sideline every play and talk to the play. Maybe I'll say, I want you to throw the 2 rounds. Or if I need to get a kid the ball, I haven't touched it all game, I want you to throw the 2 rounds here, he's open throw it to him. I'll say things like that. So, the quarterback's free to make the read. I think the way this offense really works is it spreads the field, it spreads the defense. So if you have your center, you have your quarterback, you have a Z, you have a wide receiver right, you have a wide receiver left, and you have a running back. So that's my basic formation. So we are playing out of this formation for most, I'd say 75% of our sets. So you've got a center, quarterback, running back, wide receiver left, this is a Z right, that's how we start our play calling, and a wide receiver right. So this play call, if I want to talk to the quarterback, I say, all right, Z right, 121 out. That's the kids will run and they will get in this formation. Okay, so it's Z right, 121 out. Okay, so what does that look like on the route tree? Everybody knows that they're running the 1. He's got a 1. He's got a 2. We're always starting from the right. He's running the 2. He's going to run. He's got the out. He's got a 1. He's got a 1. The running back, what I'll tell them and teach them is basically going to be whatever side the Z's on, just flare, be a safety valve over here. Kind of run in that direction, fill where the wide receiver left is. If he's getting blitzed and none of these guys are open, he's got to jump off here. This is Z right, this is Z. The whole key of the offense is Z. You put your best athlete maybe in the Z usually. That's what I usually do. The kid who can catch and run and understands like why his job's important. If you look at the defense, get another color. What this does, to your question, why it makes it fairly easy for the quarterback to make a read. You've got usually 2 safeties up here. So who's in a bind here? The quarterback has to make a choice whether he's going to run deep and let the safety cover the 1, or is he going to jump the 2 route. So whichever decision this guy makes, in theory, on a 3-step drop, a quick pass is wrong, right? The quarterback can look over and see, all right, he's going deep, he's playing soft, quick, get the ball to the Z. He's usually our strongest player. Or this guy's blitzing, which a lot of kids, linebackers will blitz, and this quarterback has to make a decision, who's he going to cover? Is he going to stay with the 1? cover the 2 or the running back here. So a lot of options for the quarterback to see. Somebody here should be open. At least 1, 2, or 3 are typically open in this kind of basic set. So that's why I like the 2 routes, because they get people open a lot. So let's see how it works with the other set. Happy to put some of this down as in notes and then we'll look at it afterwards. So again, Z's a smart player. He's an older kid. So now we'll go Z left. Okay. Wide receiver rights and lefts are still doing the same thing, right? Z left. 121 out. Mixes it up for the defense. Defense sees the Z moving over. He's the stronger kid. They're really concerned where's he going to go as a new play. It's the same play. It's Z left. Okay, quarterback's kind of making the same read. Running back just has to think, all right, I'm not going to overcrowd and run to the Z. I'm trying to create free up the Z. Everybody else is running the same. This guy's going to go 1. Is out here. This guy's running a 1. Center's going this way. Running back to the safety. He's kind of hanging out over here in case the quarterback gets in trouble with somebody there. So that's, again, same huddle, same play call, just Z's going to go to the other side of the field here. Give a different look to the defense. That play seems to work. You know, an athlete that understands why their position is important, why you have to go to the correct side of the field, a better player. Z is an important piece. For 520, Z left, let's go Z left 525 out. So it'll be the same thing, right? Same huddle. Pretty similar play call. This guy now is going to run a curl on the wide receiver. Let's start on the right side, so that's how we call it. 5. Here's a 5. Here is the center. It's going to do a 2. He's going to run the 2. Wide receiver left is going to run the 5. Sit there. Running back is going to get safety valve opposite side of the. You want to add as the season goes on, you want to add another route. Throw a number. You can take out the word, put a number. You can have 525 2. You know, I like just keeping it with 3 numbers, and then sometimes I tell this guy to go. Sometimes I'll say 5-2 Z left, 525 out, running back go. I'll just throw that wrinkle in. Once the kids get comfortable, then he just runs a seam and occupies the safety. You can kind of add some things in. As long as they're in that huddle formation, as long as the kids understand what the numbers mean and what the words quarterback's pointing to them as he says 5-2-5 out, running back can go. Then that's a way to have a lot of variety in your offense. You start to scramble up these numbers as much as you want. Any questions on that?
So that's pretty much how you call your running back.
I'll add it in. I want them to, in the basic set, I want them to know the opposite is it. We'll teach that. You know, again, the way I play the kids is every set of 4 downs, that group goes in, and then they'll switch to defense, and then we get the ball back for the second time in the game, new group goes in. And I keep the kids relatively loose for the first half in the season, so they know what they're doing. Yeah, we'll mix it up each game now. They'll play right back at 2 than they did week 1. But yeah, just you can add even running back to get to go to the opposite side of the Z. They'll get it. They kind of understand it, you know, when they're out there, believe it or not. So for run these sets, you can add a lot of things in. Some of the more complex play calls to get into we actually different things like, so here's one play. Z right, blue motion, running back handoff right. This is our run play. Okay. So I show the kids. One thing I forgot to say is I print out all the plays and I show it to them in the huddle in the first couple of weeks. And I literally say, all right, Chris, you're here. Tommy, you're here. Jeff, you're here. You know, Mike, you're the Z, and Tracy, you're the wide receiver right. Okay. Go stand in these positions. We walk through the plays. So they can then just look at themselves and see where am I going to run. So they do have to see it visually for the first 3 or 4 weeks. When you come in, the reason I have this whole formation and play calling tree is because eventually I get pulled out of the huddle and they have to do it on their own. So that's what allows them to see it first, to start to sink in by week 3, they're out of the huddle, and start to run the play calls from the sideline itself. So this is now, it's I'll email it out. I forget what it is. I haven't been on it yet this year, but it's something easy. When you type in like flag football plays, it's one of the third hits that comes up on Google. It's pretty simple. So I laminated it. I took it to the nth degree, and you don't have to go this crazy, but I figured out like if I show the kids plays, I think they're going to get it rather than me saying it to them. It's a combination, right? We're all visual learners, all audible learners, something about the running and doing. So again, your Z's the critical part of this offense. So here's the Z. So he's caught a few passes, maybe you scored your first touchdown. You want to get your running back the ball. So you call Z right, okay? Blue motion, so I throw in a motion. Blue means left, red means right, because R means right. Blue is the opposite. I'll have my Z go in motion. Blue motion to the left. It gets behind the running back. They snap the ball. Running back runs. Quarterback takes the snap. Running back goes in this direction. Hopefully this linebacker has his eyes on the same and paying attention. Gets at least a step. This is a 5-10 yard play. Special. But it keeps the defense honest. So Z right, blue motion, running back in off right. We're handing the ball off right to the running back. That's the play. Keep it as simple as possible. I want the running back to know you're going to the right. Quarterback is to the right. Go this way. Z. You could say, I say blue motion. You could say Z right. I don't like to use, I guess, the reason I use a color there is because I don't want to say Z right, left motion. You know, you could say opposite motion, far motion, whatever word you want to put in there. But you're teaching the kids to go to motion, quarterback's trying to figure out when to snap, and the running back's going to run to the right. Everybody else is, pretty much doing a down run, get the defense in here.
And I think just one thing from
Yep.
the last couple of years, you call running play, make sure everybody else runs and wrap.
Yeah.
What happened a couple times for me was they would run and stand there. They're looking in the backfield. They're not moving. Just moving the defense.
So whatever system you come up with, if it's founded in some sort of fundamental nomenclature of numbers, letters, colors, whatever it is, the kids know what route they're running before the ball snaps. I think that's the key. Is keep the nomenclature as simple as possible. So when we get short yardage, we're trying to get a first down, or at the goal line, I just say goal line. Center, QB, everybody else is in some formation over here. This is goal line, overload left. And then we'll run a couple plays out of this. Basically, the plays we're trying to run half the time are, everybody knows they're going to go in this direction, or this guy's going to go deep, and this guy's going to kind of sneak over here and try to quarterback just throw him a quick pass. All we need is 3 or 4 yards. So this is kind of overload left. I call this inside sneak under. Kids pick it up. Goal line left. Goal line, overload left, inside sneak under. As long as everybody knows their left and right, they can run something like this. When the center's going to go this way. When the defense picks up on this, they start cheating over here to catch this guy. Guess who's wide open and nobody pays attention to center? Or one of these kids. You can pull a kid aside and run a special play. So simple nomenclature: goal line, overload left, inside sneak under. That's it. Quarterbacks can learn it. Players can be in their huddle and actually comprehend the simple things. So I think that's kind of the moral here is how to keep the nomenclature simple. It's founded, I think, on that route tree, and then you can spend and the formation of Z left, Z right, Z left, Z right. Everybody else goes the same place every time. Repetition. And they'll, that creates, all we're trying to do here is get each kid open once a half, right? And get them to touch the ball and run downfield. Get each player the ball once a half, that's usually pretty good. You're going to have your superstars catch 3 and 4 times a game or something like that, but trying to get everybody a touch, this is good offense to really get people open in simple positions. Any questions on that? So the best, I'll just show you real quick, we're running a little short on time. The best teach your kids how to grab the flag. What I've seen is I got the upward sight. You set up kind of the box. There's 2 really good drills. I'll show you one. So your defender's here, defender here, and defender here. You set a line of running backs up here, and you segment, here's your 5-yard space, here's your 5-yard space, here's your 10-yard space, whatever it is. The players get up here, and you set one guy free with the ball, and he can run in here, over here, he cannot cross the line, and this guy tries to make the tackle. This is solo tackling, right? Once the running back gets by, even if he had a flag grab, now this guy's engaged. He's trying to tackle him. He's trying to make him miss. He can run around here, run around here. Once he gets to the next level, the third guy does it. Run around here, run around here. That's a really good solo tackle drill, right? Just to get kids, even if both flags get pulled here, still go up and try and grab the flag. It's just a drill. I think that's on the website. But here's the best drill. When we talk about team tackling, what you want to do is put one running back, put your Z or your best kid, some of your stronger athletes with the ball. Put some of your weaker athletes here as defensive backs. And again, set up this channel formation, so this is like 15 yards by 20 yards or something. And you want these 2 kids to be able to go in and pin this guy down so he cannot break free and score a touchdown, get down to this direction. So what they have to do, if this kid runs out at full speed and misses, and now it's 1-on-1, this running back's going to get by. Teach your two defenders to kind of keep their position and close them down. You're slowly closing them down into the corner. You want them eventually, this guy's over here, you want to teach this guy to kind of play soft and this guy to play a little harder and guard the sideline. Flush him out this way, make him go back to your help. And when he comes to this side of the field, this guy engages more fully, cuts off the sideline. This guy plays a little softer. So you're slowing down the running back, not letting him advance the ball. And in the game, you've got 4 other people coming to help tackle, or you're supposed to. So if you teach kids to contain the running back in practice, that's how I've been able to get kids to actually make the tackles they're supposed to. And if you get kids tackling the way they're supposed to, the game is more fun because it's closer, it's more competitive. But when the game's got out of control of me, it's because we're just missing 4 flags and 3 touchdowns. And I'm like, this is crazy. We're playing so well on offense that we're down 2 touchdowns already, and our ball possession time is eating up the clock. So I think that's the best drill that I've seen. You put 2 kids versus 1, usually the stronger athletes the 1, and really teach the kids to team tackle and contain. That's been my success there. So in closing, just if there's not any questions, thanks for attending. If you guys would like any of this written down, just let Jay know and he can reach out. But I think the most important thing, if I can say, is show your kids something written, walk them through it, and then they'll eventually get the audible cues where quarterbacks can call plays or great defense. That's really the way. If you don't print it out like this, it's fine to draw. I got this at Dick's for $20 or something. This is really good too. If kids are struggling in the game, I'll pull them aside and say, look, here's the play. Here's what you're going to do next play. You're going to run here, over here. Joey's going to run this way. Right? You understand what you're doing? All right. You really got to walk them through it sometimes early in the season. So, they're coming. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate your help, guys. Yeah, sure.
Jack, I still have Seahawks and 49ers. Everybody,
Yeah.
it's your team.
I thought of that.
You're going to win it all. Perfect. I'm going to be fun.
it.